everyone, it is Sarah here with Purple Angel Oracle. Hope everybody is doing well. So today I'm going to touch on some very dense, possibly uncomfortable topics, but I feel like I just have been guided to do this. I want to share with you confirmation from source, some of my personal experiences. Yes, so we're going to be talking about the child trafficking, human trafficking, and this is something that is obviously, if you're following everything going on, has been brought up a lot recently. This is something that everybody is tapping into right now. It's a consciousness that we are all tapping into right now to clear. This is a big one. This is one of the densest, if not the densest, consciousnesses that we're clearing right now. So the child trafficking and child sacrifice, all these horrible things, very dense, dark, low vibrational energies. This has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Okay? This is nothing new. But it's been hidden from us, obviously. This is something that has not been talked about enough, and it needs to come into the light. And it is. That is what's happening. Children are being rescued. This is a very real thing. It's a very real consciousness. And I know there's a lot of people who don't want to face that because it's so horrific, and it is. It's a very hard thing to confront and face. But the longer, that's like ignoring a child basically being tortured. It's turning your face away to something and leaving that child in the darkness. We have to look at it and clear it. So that is what we're doing right now. And a lot of you might be noticing you having this pull to meditate more or visualize or pray for these children, or having dreams about saving children, or even dreams about yourself being one of these children. Having emotions coming up that you don't even realize are associated with that consciousness, fear, feeling unsafe, not secure, scared. Yeah, that goes right in fear, obviously. And there's a lot of emotions associated with this consciousness, a lot. And a lot of these could be your own feelings. And it's hard to differentiate because as light workers, we naturally pick up on the collective, emotion or the consciousness that we're tapping into. We feel those feelings as if they're our own. And some of them may very well be our own, because many of us, if not all of us, have been trafficked or have been slaves or have been put in a position where we experienced that consciousness, where we actually experienced that consciousness in a previous life or in this life. Okay. So this is coming up to clear right now. And it's could very well, this is so dense that it could very well be the consciousness that we clear that actually shifts the entire planet. Now we are in the event, we're in the shift, we're in that build up, but what I mean is that climax, that pinnacle moment where the shift occurs. And I still believe there will be a moment. That's almost like our gift from source as light workers, to feel that relief, to feel the light conquer the darkness. That's why many of us have that deep desire to be a light warrior and to just, take on the darkness, consume it, get rid of it, clear it. And to have that feeling of euphoria and that feeling of wow, the darkness is gone. The evil is gone. So the children, they're essentially, I can't even talk. You know what I mean. They're going to be the ones that actually shift. They've come in with a higher light quotient. So even these children being trafficked, okay? Once they awaken to their true divinity, if they haven't already, which I feel like they are, they're going to be the ones that shift this entire planet. It's going to be a huge amount of light that comes in, and it already is. And because it has to do with children, that's going to awaken the masses, the collective. That is what is going to awaken, because these are innocent lives. These are, there's no justifying anything that has to do with that. That and animals. Those are very, very deep, they hit you very deeply. If you're an empath or a light worker or just a good human being, I mean, come on. These are things that I get very, very emotional and sensitive about, because these are the things you don't understand. Why does this happen? And these are the things that will awaken everybody, because then everyone will see the truth. Okay? Start asking the questions. So, I've had, I don't know if it was a remote view, I don't know what you would actually call it, but a few months ago, I kind of was drawn into this visualization where I was almost in these like military bunkers, which very well could have been the deep underground military bases, right? The D.U.M.B.S. But there were children in cages. It was horrific. I saw it. And if you've watched my previous videos, when I visualize myself as a big purple angel. And I went in there and I opened all the cages and I just embraced these children and gave, them what light I had, but the light that was coming off them overpowered me. These children hold so much. They're the key. They are so profound. They're so special. And so, yes, I saw that, and I can't get into too much detail, but I know personal sources who can confirm, the children in cages scenario, seeing that. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But that is a real thing. Whether it is in these underground military bases, I can't confirm that. But children actually in cages does happen. It's a real thing. This happened to be overseas, that I can confirm. It's horrible. This is a very hard thing to talk about. I get actually starting to get emotional, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But there are deep underground military bases. I mean, come on. The military is not, they know what they're doing. These were built a long time ago. So whether they stopped being used by the military and were taken over by child traffickers, I don't know all the details about that. But what I do know is these children are being saved. Whoever you want to believe is doing that, whoever you want to believe is in charge of doing that. I just love to believe God is in charge of doing that. But these children are being saved. They're being brought into the light. And we play a huge part in that as light workers by just visualizing and praying and getting the message out there, bringing this message into the light. Because these are the children. They're the, in physicality right now, they're still children. We are all God's children. So even the adults being trafficked, I mean, definitely a focus on the children because of the innocence. But these are all children. Anyone being tortured or put into slavery, animals, any of this, whatever you're being drawn to visualize and pray for, do it. I mean, that helps so much, because this is the densest of the densest, I'm telling you. So it's very uncomfortable to visualize these things. It's very uncomfortable to go there, okay, to travel to these other consciousnesses and dimensions or pictures in your mind. But by doing that, you're doing so much, whether you believe that or not, because a lot of us feel so helpless. It's not like we ourselves can go down into these underground military bases and save these children, unless you are able to do that. Some people are doing that. So that has definitely just, it's coming in really full force right now for everybody. They're feeling this, they're, and that's why, as far as a lot of the stuff going on with the riots and all, and I'm just sitting here going, why is nobody spoken up for the children? why are people denying that this is happening? It can be very frustrating, okay? And it is people are starting to do this. This is that consciousness we're tapping into, and we're about to clear this. We're working on clearing this. Also, I would like to touch on the topic of Hollywood and celebrities. This, I follow a lot of what's going on the planet because, angels protect, they watch, and I like to be aware of everything going on here. But I've noticed a lot of people attacking a lot of the celebrities. And yes, there could be very many of them that are involved with this trafficking or, satanic behavior, whatever you want to call this. Yes, I'm not denying there are most likely quite a few celebrities. Okay, I'm gonna be straight up. But you have to keep in mind there's also a lot of these celebrities who were brought into this as children, so they themselves are being trafficked. A lot of these celebrities, their parents basically sold them. I've done a lot of research on this. They basically sold them into that industry when they were way too young to even make that decision on their own. So just because these children aren't being kept in cages or they're not in underground tunnels, they are themselves living in a form of trafficking and mind control and not being able to get out of it. And God only knows what goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood. We don't know. But I have been called to pray for some of these poor souls who were kind of forced into this, and their parents almost, in a sense, sold them into it for the greed and whatever, motivations they had for doing that. But that was something that just hits me deeply because I started singing when I was very young, and that was my dream. When I was young, I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be a superstar, and my mom stood by me and she helped me. I tried out for American Idol 2 times. I tried, but there was also, it was strange because I wanted it, but there was always something holding me back. There was always something that just didn't feel right. Like I knew I couldn't handle that lifestyle, or it just did not feel right for me. And which is why I didn't do that. I didn't take that path. I became a mother. I decided to not go that way. And God, obviously, source, my higher self, was guiding me because that was not the place for me. So there's a lot of strange coincidences in my life that have led up to everything I know and why I feel so deeply about it and why I feel it is truth. Because they're not coincidences, is essentially what it is. That's what it's become, is I can't deny what has brought me here. And as far as like the deep underground military bases, now when I had my ascension jump, like a major ascension jump in 2013, I had this strange desire. Like I kept going to the local airport here and driving out like far back into the airport and this area where I was like, there's something going on under here. And I just sit there and visualize and meditate and wait. Like I'm sitting there waiting. And it didn't even have to do with trafficking. I just felt like something was going on beneath me. To this day, I still don't know exactly what it was. It could have been the trafficking issue. It could have been aliens, dark beings. I don't know, I just had this weird feeling something was going on underneath me. And I was just visualizing me like sending light and just going in there with my light and pummeling the darkness out. That's basically what I was visualizing. And also, I found this document because I live in California and we had all those wildfires a couple years ago. And then PG&E was doing these planned power outages where they would just shut the power off like they were scheduled. And it was really annoying. But I found a document that kind of had a theory about certain earthquakes too in areas that should not be having earthquakes. But that doesn't really apply to California because we have earthquakes. However, the shutoffs, someone had mentioned that it was the military planning these shutoffs to go underground and rescue, people being trafficked down there. There was underground stuff going on, and they needed the power off. And I'll put a link to one of the documents I found. That wasn't the original one. I cannot find the original document that I read. But yeah, that was something, that kind of resonated. I was like, yeah, that actually would make sense, because there were times that they were shutting the power off where they said, we have to shut it off because of high wind activity. And it was not windy at all where I was. So it was pretty strange. And so, yeah. And then the other day I was actually did a visualization of just like kind of standing over the planet and just shooting purple and white, light, just consuming the entire planet, and visualizing it like going through all the veins of the planet and the tunnels and everything. Well, that night or into the next morning at 3 a.m, my power randomly shut off, and I like shot up out of bed. Like I knew it shut off. And that's the first thing I thought was, there's something going on beneath me. I keep getting this sensation. There's something going on underneath me. And yeah, so I had that feeling, went back to bed. They ended up shutting off the power a couple more times throughout the day. It was random. I looked up why they did it, and they said there was just technical issues or something. Of course, there was no deep explanation for it. There was no car accident. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to stand by that there's something going on down there, because I've been driven to that conclusion too many times. Okay. These children are being saved. Our prayers, our meditations, our visualizations are helping these poor souls that are essentially going to save us in a way. Okay. So right now though, we're the ones that need to uplift them, to wake them up, to get them out, to help them recognize their power, to get their power back, because it's been taken from them. They've, it hasn't necessarily been taken. It's always there. They just have to find it. So yes, that's something I've been really praying hard on, as I'm sure many of you have. I feel like that should be the main focus right now. Nothing else should come before children and babies and innocence. That's not acceptable in any way. Nothing else should come before we do something about this. Okay. And a lot is being done, but I feel like a lot of people still need to be aware of how real this is, how real this consciousness is that we're trying to clear. And how any prayer and any good thoughts and anything you can do towards that helps immensely. So moving on, I did pull some cards just to get some confirmation, advice, all of that, from source. And the first one out I got was going forward, which I've pulled this one recently. But this card represents, abundance that awaits. So it's, us as light workers, keep focusing on that light. Keep focusing on the best possible outcome, and for the children, of course. Pray for the children. Pray for them to focus on the light as they're going through these horrific situations. Pray for the light to consume this darkness, this very moment. Visualize the children being set free. Visualize them in joy and in love. And once again, animals as well. I told you I feel very deeply about animals. There's horrific things being done to animals all the time. And I visualize, God has sent me so many different situations that have to do with animals that I've saved. Random, obviously not random, I guess. It's planned by God, because God knows I will save them. But just amazing things, chances I've been given to save innocent animals. And it's also very hard for me because I'm so sensitive. I get so sad about it when I see an animal in pain, but I've been given the chance many times to help. And I'm crying as I'm doing it, but I've saved a lot of animals just by being in the right place at the right time, The next one out is security. Now, this is something a lot of us feel like we're lacking right now, is that sense of security. Okay, like I said, a lot of these emotions being brought up are based on fear, and they're very, very dense. And that's us tapping into that consciousness of these people and children being trafficked. And what I was picking up is these children will soon have that security. They're going to feel safe. That consciousness of fear and insecurity is being cleared. It'll be like a breath of fresh air once we clear this. This is what's coming. Okay, this is what I picked up from this, because the card before kind of indicated, going forward. So it's like looking into the future a little bit. So that's what's coming, is security. And then I got community. And we will be here. We're already here. Okay, but to embrace these beautiful children, and they are going to embrace us. And they're going to be reunited with their family of light. The pain is going to fade. There's going to be a true sense of beautiful light and love-filled community. A reunion, that grand reunion of souls, of us awakening and remembering, right? I've mentioned this before, remembering our past lives together, remembering where we actually came from, and being introduced to our real community of light, okay? That's what I was picking up from that card. And essentially, I keep using that word. Essentially I'm not even saying that right, am I? I don't know. It sounds weird. I'm going to stop using it. Eventually, here we go. Enlightenment, okay? These children, like I said, they're the ones leading us to this enlightenment, in a sense, the causing this mass awakening. But we're doing it ourselves as well. It comes down to each individual, but these children hold a higher quotient of light, the majority of them. So once they awaken, if they haven't already awakened, like I said, that light quotient will raise the entire vibration of the planet, causing that pinnacle moment, as I said, of the event or the shift, that pinnacle moment where we actually get that relief, that sense of peace, finally, enjoyment, that fear, all those lower vibrational energies that we're literally clearing one by one. If you really step back and look, it's just like step by step by step by step. Like this is it. We are clearing them, bam, 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 and this enlightenment for the entire planet. That's what we're trying to achieve here. And so what I was picking up from Source was the children. Something to do with the children is actually going to be what shoots us, catapults us into the new earth, where it's here to stay. Where it's finally balanced, where we're not teeter-tottering back and forth between dimensions anymore. It's like we've shifted this junk, and I shouldn't call it that. My higher self's up here going, nothing is junk, Sarah. Nothing is junk. It all came from Source. It all serves a purpose. Okay, yes. I totally understand that. I know that. But at the same time, we are ready for this to go. We're done. And we're supposed to be ready for this to go. That's why we have such a need to clear it, because we're made of light. We want to stay in the light. We want to stay in higher vibrations. We know what we're here for. We know what we came for. And that is to shift the planet. And these children that I'm talking about are here for that purpose as well. Whether these are, the children being trafficked or just normal everyday children. The children are the key here. We're all very important. But children are innocent. They're pure. They're just, you guys get it. So yeah, I hope this video helped somebody, confirmed some things that you might be feeling. I'm feeling it as well. This is something very dear to my heart. I've had a very traumatic childhood as well. Certain, things in my life that I can understand these feelings of fear and these emotions being brought up right now. But we're clearing this. Like I said, this is the murky, deep, dense, goopy stuff, the lowest vibrational energy on the planet that we're clearing so we can shift. This is that heavy, dense stuff holding us down. Just like I said, the sandbags on a hot air balloon, or the chains being broken one by one. That's exactly what we're doing. We're shifting these consciousnesses one by one by one, and they're like chains breaking off. So the one that a lot of us are currently clearing right now has to do with the child trafficking and children and the trauma and horrible, horrific things like that. So just wanted to share and let you know you're not alone. A lot of us are going through this. And yeah, that's about it. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. I love reading your comments. Thank you so much for your support. I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.